Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Crown Cattle Company. This is our second live streaming attempt. The first time didn't go very smooth because we weren't sure what we were doing, and I'm not sure we do this time. But we appreciate you tuning in and look forward to visiting with you. If you have questions or comments, uh, please enter those in the comments below, and we'll try to get to those as time permits. Pardon me? See, I had to. It made me rotate the camera, so I don't know what's going on. It says live.
Can you see your comments?
Now, let's see, it says live up there. 5 people on.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't see anything over here.
Okay, let's continue as if we're on the air here again. Like I say, we're not real sure of what we're doing, but add your comments if you would, please, down at the bottom. Oh, here we go. Now I've got one from a viewer from northern Alberta. So welcome. We're happy to have you along. There were a few of you that couldn't be with us tonight, so they sent questions earlier in the week, and I'll start off with some of those. And uh, if if you have more questions, well, maybe I'll get to those too. One of our regular loyal viewers asked, "What is your method for knowing when a cow is about ready to calve?" Well, if you've watched the last few episodes, you know that I'm probably not a good person to ask for that, because there's been a couple of cows I've been saying that they should calve tonight, and they haven't, or they didn't for a week or two. I'll go over some of the signs that I look for, and experienced cattlemen will probably know more than me on what they look for. First of all, they pass a mucus plug, and I've heard people say that they'll calve within 24 hours after they pass the mucus plug. I have had them calve that quickly after seeing the mucus plug, and I've had them wait 2 weeks after passing that mucus plug. So sometime within that 2 week period, they probably should. Another thing you look for, their udder gets full, but that depends upon the individual cow. Some really heavy milkers, their udder will get full for a week or two before they calve. Others might not. A first calf heifer sometimes doesn't get much of an udder until after they calve. So that's not a for sure sign either. One thing I look for, their vulva gets real loose and pliable right before they calve. A lot of times they'll be licking their side, throwing their head back and licking at their ribs. If they're off by themselves, away from the herd, that's a pretty good indication that maybe impending motherhood is going to happen pretty soon. But I have also seen cows lay down and have their calf right in the middle of a herd of cows, so that's not a for sure thing. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that when you see 2 little feet sticking out their rear end, they're probably pretty close to calving. And that's the only sure sign that I know. So I appreciate that question earlier in the week. Another viewer asked if I'd had much trouble with pink eye this summer, and knock on wood, I have not had a single case of pink eye yet. And that's the first time I can remember in years of not having had some pink eye. Of course, we've had good rains. It's not been real dusty or just extremely hot. We've had a couple of hot streaks, but I would like to think maybe that has helped cut down on pink eye. Although I've got some friends within 10, 15 miles of here that say they're just having their typical cases of pink eye. Uh, uh, I do try to keep my fly mops full of that fly dope that keeps it off their keeps the flies off their faces, and that usually spreads pink eye. And they asked me if I doctor any for pink eye, and I kind of live by the advice an older veterinarian told me, gosh, probably 30 years ago. He said, Jerry, if you want me to come out and doctor for pink eye, calves that have pink eye, he said, I'll do that gladly, and they'll get over it in about 2 weeks the way I medicate them. He said, now, if you don't do anything, they'll get over it in about 14 days on their own. So I've kind of lived by that advice. Now, if they do get it in both eyes, I do get them up because they get completely blind there for a few days. So I don't want that. But usually if it's just one eye, I let them heal on their own. But I think the fly mops have made or have helped me out. And also, all my calves are Beefmaster crosses, and I can't help but think maybe that helps out a little bit. Although I had, the same kind of calf crop last year, and I still had a few cases of pink eye. So we can't give all the credit to being a Beefmaster cross. Okay, we're getting lots of people on now. I appreciate that. Another viewer asked me, how many summer calves do you have? And I'd like to say I don't have any. It's kind of a running joke amongst my neighbors that I don't calve in the summer. I have a few late spring calves, although July is pretty late. But in reality, I do 90% of my cows calve in February, March, and April. I'll have anywhere from 5 to 10 that don't make it in that window. And, good cattlemen are probably saying, well, if you take your bulls out, you just have that window. But I kind of live by what one of my older neighbors that passed away a few years ago, he said, a live calf is always welcome on my farm. And I found that I usually sell my spring calves, in October or November. These late spring ones in June and July, I might sell them in January, and that income always comes in handy to help pay off some Christmas bills. So as long as they're live, but I don't like to calve in the summer. The fly problem exists. They can get to the navel of a newborn. It's hard to find them out in some of my woods. In the summer when everything's leaved out. So I really wish I didn't have summer calves, but again, a live calf is always welcome on my place. Good to have Craig from Iowa. He's been a loyal viewer. Some other people are joining in. We appreciate all of our viewers. We really do. And, that makes what we do not only fun, but worthwhile when some of you people, or a lot of you people, keep commenting. Still no questions yet. Another one that came in this week is, why don't you make your own hay instead of buying it? And up until about 10 years ago, when I started downsizing, when you get, some age on you, well, I sold, three different farms that I had too, and most of those were my good hay ground. And, a round baler is going to cost you $50,000, $60,000 these days. The mower conditioner is going to be another $30,000, $35,000. Your rake, to have all that expensive equipment sitting around to use, in my case, 2 to 3 weeks in the spring is when I made all my hay. It's not really economically feasible. Luckily, I have some really good neighbors. One neighbor actually bought one of my places, and they have always, so far, been able to find a couple of hundred bales that they make. Actually, they put up thousands of them each summer, and so they know I'm gonna need about 200 bales to get me through, and so they've always been able to provide me for that. Of course, I pay them, the going price, but they really take care of me. Craig asked, how's the dehydrated calf? Hopefully doing good. You can never tell that he was ever dehydrated, and he was lucky to be alive. If you saw that video where he was trapped in the bale yard, unbeknownst to us, for 2 days, and went to the pond and just drank and drank and drank. And he showed defects that afternoon and maybe slightly the next morning. You could never tell now that he was dehydrated any time. Getting back to why I don't put up my hay. I miss putting up hay. For me, as a cattleman, there was not much more, only the calving season was more enjoyable than making hay if the weather cooperated and the machinery operated correctly. And my wife keeps reminding me when I tell her how much I miss making hay. She said, when did the weather ever cooperate and when did all your machinery work correctly? And I guess that's true. You always had breakdowns and everything. But I really did enjoy making hay when I used to do that. Okay, we see what else we got there. Another viewer asked how long I'd been using dart guns. I released a short video Saturday where I darted a cow, and I've had this dart gun for probably 8 or 10 years now, and my gosh, it has saved me so many animals because before I had the dart gun, you'd either have to chase them and get them in the corral, which is really stressful on them, or they would get so sick that they were weak enough that I could get in the corral or medicate them out in the field. And with this dart gun, when one shows a sign of being sick, you know, I just load up that dart gun and I can medicate them. It's low stress on the animal, it's low stress on me, and it's saved countless lives since I've had the dart gun. So I don't know how I got along without one, quite frankly. Okay, what else we got here? Grace is 14 and she loves heavy metal. As for me, I like both kinds of music, country and western. So maybe she's talking about machinery, though. I'm not sure. Okay, one more question before we don't want to bore you here. A viewer asked how my pasture situation was this year. And folks, I couldn't feel more blessed than this year. As you can see in the background here, I'm out in my yard, front yard, and the fence is behind me. This is the 24th of July, and I actually can't remember pastures being this green and this lush at this time of the year. We have just been blessed with very timely rains, enough of it when we needed. We haven't, here at my location, we haven't been flooded. Not too far south here, they've had some terrible floods. So it's typical summer in the Ozarks. You know, some people get good rains and some don't, but we've gone through about 2 years of really drought in the summertime. So, you know, I feel like I'm in the Garden of Eden this year, although here in the Ozarks with our shallow topsoil, we're always just only about 10 days away from a drought. Let's see. Another one, how long have you been using Beefmaster bulls? About fully now with nothing but Beefmaster bulls for probably about 4 years. Really, again, like in the last live stream, I really, really like them. They really cross great with my cow herd that's mostly Red Angus. Okay, folks, I don't want to bore you by going too long here. This is a little longer than most of our longs anyway. We appreciate you tuning in. I would remind you that next Wednesday, if you'll tune in to our regular video release time at, I believe, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think you'll like this. And I had a couple of little kittens that were dumped down at the creek place by the barn. And it's during one of those rainy nights, and I saved them from probably sure death. And so you can see us nurse those back to health. Plus, you'll see me almost tip my little tractor over as I unloaded a brand new squeeze chute. Maybe you'll want to see that and get a kick out of me letting it down in a hurry. And of course, you'll get to see 1 or 2 of my late spring calves that were born last week. So hope you tune in for that. We really appreciate you tuning into this live stream. I'm sorry if it was a little awkward there at first. We thought we weren't on the air, but evidently we were. And so if I was stuttering and stammering around, we'll blame it on technology and not the old man in front of the camera, okay? Thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you in maybe another month or so on these live streams. They're a lot of fun for me. Thanks again, and good night.